Is your fear of judgment holding you back? Let's get one thing straight. We all share a fear of judgment because we all share a need to be loved and to belong. What you need to realize is that you have the power to move past that fear, to say what you're here to say, and to do what you're here to do. In this quickie episode, you'll learn why we fear judgment, how the fear of judgment makes us human, and a powerful question to help you navigate through your fear of judgment and take action. Today's episode is sponsored by my advanced digital training, Unleashed and Unapologetic: How to Become a Thought Leader and Build a Cult Following. If you're ready to gain visibility, build a loyal following, and create impact while increasing your income, I highly, highly encourage you to enroll for the You and You training at rubyfremon.com/unleashed. Now it is time to dive into this quickie edition of Thursday's Thought. So what's really stopping you? What's really stopping you from putting yourself out there? What's really stopping you from sharing your truth via video, live videos, posts? What's really stopping you from stepping into what it is that you know you're here to do? What's really stopping you? Now, there's a plethora of fears that hold us back and beliefs that hold us back. And all of this is really dependent on our programming and our upbringing. But the most common fear that I hear from my clients, from my audiences at events, from my online community, is the fear of judgment. We fear being judged, right? When it comes to creating a post to share on Instagram, how many times do you ask yourself, oh my God, is this the right thing to post? Or is my audience going to like this? Is this too much? Like, how many times do you ask yourselves questions like that before you hit post? Or before you hit record when you're about to do a live? Or maybe you don't even do live videos because of this fear of judgment. I want to shed light on this fear in this episode because I want to help you understand how to navigate through this so that you can do the work that you know you're here to do. Because let's get one thing straight. You have a purpose, and your purpose can only be led by you. And there are people in this planet who need to hear from you. They need to hear from you in order to know about your work and about your gifts. And they need to hear from you in order to work from you. So the fear of judgment is doing nothing but hold you back, especially if you're listening to it. So let's get one thing really, really fucking clear. The fear of judgment is real. This isn't some made up thing that you're entertaining in your mind. It's a real fear. It's a real innate fear. And if we bring it back to our basic human needs. So let's take it back to my man Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We have a need for love and belonging as human beings, and we all share this need. The need to feel loved and the need to feel like we belong somewhere. And so when we are about to do something that could possibly make us feel unloved by others or make us feel like we don't belong, then we're going to hesitate. And that hesitation is the fear of judgment. Because if someone judges, if you're about to post something raw and real and vulnerable, and you're like, if someone judges me for this, then I'm not going to feel loved. I'm not going to feel accepted. I'm not going to feel like I belong. They might unfollow me, on social media. They might unfollow me, which means that I don't belong. These are the things that actually go on in our unconscious minds. And we entertain these things by listening to it, by holding ourselves back because of this fear. Now, another massive truth that I want to share is, and this is, in my opinion, disclaimer, in my opinion, I don't believe that this fear ever really goes away. I believe that this is part of what makes us human. We do care, right? As human beings, we do care. We do care about what other people think. We're human. We do care. But there are ways for us to start caring less, right? So we can care about what other people think, and still do what we're here to do, right? Versus obsessing over what other people think to the degree that it holds you back from doing what you're here to do or saying what you're here to say, right? So you can still care. I can post something that is very direct in your face and still care about my audience. I can say really direct things to my clients and still really care about them. I can be direct and still care. And I think that's a really common misconception, is that if I'm direct, or if I show up in this way, that then I don't care, or I care too much. But it's just about finding that balance of the harmony between caring and sharing what it is that you're here to do. I mean, the gift that we have at our fingertips right now as leaders is social media, right? We have this gift, we have this tool, and for the most part, it's free. Social media puts us in charge of how we're seen, right? Social media puts us in charge of how we're seen. And the good thing is that we control our digital footprint now, but the bad thing is we control our digital footprint, meaning we can get a little too controlling with how we're seen. And a lot of this control comes from the fear of judgment, right? We start to contort ourselves, we start to mold ourselves, shape ourselves into something that we believe our audience wants to see. And all that does is it creates a greater disconnect between us and our truth. And this is all due to this fear of judgment, right? We don't want to be judged by our audience. We don't want people to think that we suck, or to disagree with what we say, or to think that we're an imposter, or to believe that we're dumb, or we're stupid, or we're ugly, or we're too fat, or our eyebrows aren't imperfect, or whatever bullshit that trolls say online nowadays. We have this fear of judgment, which again is totally natural because of this need to feel loved and this need to belong. This is what makes us human. And we also get to navigate through that to share what we're here to share. At some point, you get to decide that your mission is far greater than your fear of judgment. At some point, you get to decide that your purpose is far greater than this fear of judgment. And at some point, you get to decide that serving your audience powerfully is more important than feeding this fear of judgment. You get to decide all of this. And you can make that decision right now as you're listening to this episode. You can make the decision that your mission far outweighs your fear of judgment, that your purpose far outweighs your fear of judgment, and that serving your audience and your clients powerfully far outweighs your judgment. And by making that decision, you get to step into a different way of being online and offline, whether you're attending an event live or showing up online in a post or in a Facebook Live or in an IG story. You get to show up despite your fear of judgment, knowing that that fear is always going to be there. You get to show up. I mean, I can't tell you how many times my fear of judgment comes up in a day. I really can't tell you. I think I would even surprise myself with the amount of times it comes up, but it comes up, and it comes up a lot. It comes up when I'm about to speak on stage. It comes up while I'm speaking on stage mid-talk. It comes up when I'm facilitating retreats with clients that I've known for years. It comes up when I'm on coaching calls. It comes up when I am posting on my Instagram. And despite it coming up, I still navigate through it because my mission, my purpose, and serving my audience, my clients, is far greater than this fear of judgment. In fact, the way that I look at it is if I have a fear of judgment, that means that I actually care. And that's okay. It's okay to care. Because again, we can care and still show up boldly. We can care and still be direct. We could care and still share our truth, knowing that not everyone is going to be in agreement or aligned with that truth. but you get to decide that and you get to step into that. And your purpose needs you to step into this. You need to let yourself be seen despite the fear of judgment, knowing that there are going to be people who will judge you, knowing that there are going to be people who are going to judge you out loud in your comment thread or out loud in person at an event. There are always going to be people who judge you. But if you let that fear hold you back from sharing your truth, and you let that fear create a habit or ignite a habit of wearing masks and about hiding who you really are, then you are creating a disconnect between you and your truth, a disconnect between you and your audience, and a disconnect between you and what you know you're here to do. You're creating that disconnect, and you have to take responsibility for that disconnect. So when you find yourself worrying about what other people think, I want you to ask yourself this one question. But why does this matter? But why does this matter? If you're about to go live and you're like, oh, but I don't want people to judge me because I'm not wearing makeup today, but why does this matter? If you're about to post a really raw share on Instagram about feeling what you were feeling when you were about to go on stage and you want to share that as a teaching point, but the fear of judgment comes up. Oh, but what if people think I'm an imposter? Why does that matter? This question is so powerful, and it can help you step back into your knowing, meaning knowing what you're here to do. It can help you step back into knowing that your mission is far greater than the fear of judgment, that your purpose is far greater than your fear of judgment, and that serving your audience is far greater than your fear of judgment. Asking yourself, but why does that matter when that fear of judgment comes up, is going to anchor you back into the truth of the situation, that the fear of judgment exists and that you still have the power to speak up and to show the fuck up despite that fear of judgment. That fear of judgment does not have to stop you. In fact, you can use that fear of judgment as an opportunity to rise higher than your fear, to lean into your power so that you can begin to show up in bigger ways for your mission. You get to choose to not let your fear of judgment stop you. And again, you can choose that right now. You can make the decision right now. So whatever it is that you're wanting to share, however it is that you're wanting to show up, whether it's online or offline, when you feel the fear of judgment rising, ask yourself, but why does that matter? Why does it matter if people think I'm an imposter? Really? Why does it matter if people think I look fat in this video? Why does it matter if people think I'm not an expert? Why does it matter if people think that I'm dumb and don't know what I'm talking about? Like, why does that actually matter? If you are grounded in your fucking truth, none of that matters. If you stand behind what it is that you believe and what it is that you're here to do, then none of that shit matters. The only way that this stuff is going to matter, the only way that these judgments are going to matter, is if you allow yourself to believe them, or if there's a part of you that believes it to be true. So whatever it is, however it is that you want to show up, whatever it is that you want to share, make sure that you stand behind it 1,000%. And when your fear of judgment comes up, you ask yourself, well, why does that matter? Remind yourself of why it is that you're showing up the way that you're showing up. Remind yourself of why it is that you're sharing what you're about to share. Remind yourself of that, because that is going to be far greater than this fear of judgment. So just to drive this home in this quickie little episode, The fear of judgment is totally normal. It's what humanizes us, what makes us human. We do care. There's an innate need that we as human beings share, and it's the need to feel loved and the need to belong. So anytime that we're about to show up in a way that's going to cause friction with that's going to endanger us into AKA losing followers, or having people not like us or not agree with us, that's going to cause friction against this need to feel loved and to belong. So it's totally normal. And we get to navigate through that because our purpose, our mission, and what we're here to do is so much greater than the fear of judgment. So when your fear of judgment comes up, whenever it comes up, at each and every single time that it comes up, get into the habit of asking yourself, but why does that matter? Try that out. Report back to me. Yes, report back to me. I want to hear from you. Hit me up on Instagram or Twitter at I am Ruby. And if you're watching this on YouTube, just drop it in the comments below. Let me know how this works for you. Let me know how this question helps you navigate through your fear of judgment. I'd love to hear from you. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Thursday's Thought on today's Thought Leader, where I'm challenging you to rise up, speak up, and create a movement. If you are really serious about doing this work, if you are serious about rising up as a leader, if you're serious about pursuing your purpose, and you're really looking for guidance and mentorship to make this happen, I'm here. Okay, I'm here. I have an amazing advanced digital training called Unleashed and Unapologetic. You can learn more about it at rubyfremon.com/unleashed. That link is also going to be in the show notes. Or if you're looking to work with me in a more intimate container, such as one-on-one, just reach out. Reach out to me on Instagram, reach out to me on Twitter, reach out to me on my website, and we can talk. If you dig this episode, please be sure to drop a rating and review on iTunes and share it with a friend. And if you have any questions, again, just reach out. Check back on Monday for a brand new episode of today's Thought Leader. Thanks again, and I hope to see you online.